Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, May 31st. I'm Sean Duhimmel. Thank you so much for joining with us and tuning in again this week. Now, first of all, I cannot believe it's the end of May already. Next week is the 1st of June. We've got 2 more months of the formal legislative process here in Massachusetts, but that is a story for another day. The focus this week is on municipal health insurance and some of our concerns that are happening at the local level. But before I get into any of that, let me first remind all of you, or any of you who are on Cape Cod, of our upcoming Cape area meeting that will take place this coming Wednesday, June 5th at 11 a.m. Now let me read this to make sure I get the location correct. It is at the Emerald Resort Irish Village Conference Center, which is best known to myself, and I think any of you who are from the Cape or spent any time down on the Cape. It's the old Sheraton across the street from the Cape Cod Melody tent, right there at the Rotary. This hotel continues to change names, but that's the location. Again, Wednesday, June 5th, 11 a.m. If you're on the Cape, come on by, say hello. You're welcome to bring a guest. There will be light refreshments offered. We have some handouts. We have door prizes for those of you who stay in attendance to the end of the meeting. And of course, our meetings are a great time for us to see you in person, to interact with each other. And if you have questions, concerns, complaints, something private you want to talk to us about, our area meetings are a great opportunity to do just that. It's one of my favorite parts of this job. Now, this will be our last meeting prior to our annual meeting, which will take place in early September. Full details of the annual meeting and upcoming fall meetings will be in the July edition of The Voice, which, a matter of fact, is going to print today, and we'll have a preview of the July Voice in the coming weeks. Now, with that, let me jump into the news of the week. As I started to say, healthcare, of course, is a main concern. It's a main focus of our association. We spend a lot of time working on either healthcare policy or healthcare negotiations at the local level. It goes well beyond just the advocacy work that we're doing here in Boston at the State House or before the Group Insurance Commission. And that workload has really increased over the last 20 years. As healthcare has become more expensive, more complicated, and the target, particularly at the local level, that's on healthcare budgets and healthcare spending continues to grow. So you have heard us talk a lot about our concerns over the overall issue of healthcare affordability. The recent survey conducted by Blue Cross and Blue Shield showed that not only is healthcare affordability a top concern amongst about 2/3 of Massachusetts voters, but that 4 out of 10 respondents to the survey indicated that they have either delayed or foregone healthcare services or taking prescription drugs and so forth due to the cost, which is just completely unacceptable. So that is a major concern. But in addition to healthcare affordability is also the concern over healthcare quality. We want to make sure that the benefits that you have available are not only affordable, but also the highest possible quality. And that goes for plan design, the plan type, whether it's an indemnity plan, PPO, PSO, HMO. The kind of list goes on and on in terms of acronyms. But in addition to those points, it's also the quality of the insurance carrier, because we know that not all insurance carriers are created equal. Now, here in Massachusetts, we have fantastic health insurance carriers across the board. Any one of the major health insurance plans in Massachusetts would be at that gold star level or platinum level in any other state. So we're very fortunate that we have Blue Cross and Blue Shield, WellPoint, formerly Unicare, the .32 plans that are Harvard Pilgrim and Tufts, the newer MGB insurance plan, which is the Mass General Brigham plan, Fallon Health plan, Neighborhood Health plan, and there are a few others that are top tier health plans. But we also know that there are plans from outside of Massachusetts. Some of them are for-profit insurers who are interested in getting the proverbial camel's nose under the tent to do business here in Massachusetts. And Not all those plans are created equal, which is a concern of ours. Now, at the state level, the GIC, about a year and a half ago, completed its procurement process. Thankfully, they selected once again all in-state coverage of the plans I just listed. Many of them are offered through the GIC. So the quality of the benefits offered through the GIC, at least at this point, are not in question whatsoever. But at the local level, it's a little bit different. And because of the high cost of insurance, there is a target on municipal insurance spending for constant cuts. And over the last 18 months or so, we have seen a growing level of activity across the Commonwealth at the local level from communities of all sizes, but primarily from some smaller communities or some of the smaller communities that participate in the smaller joint purchasing groups that exist, where communities band together to purchase insurance because of the economies of scale of doing so. Traditionally have kept costs down while still maintaining that high level of quality benefits. But that's not always the case. One of the examples of this is a trend that we're seeing, and it's not widespread at this point, but it's happening enough that it is a concern. And that concern is that some communities are choosing to transition or transfer Medicare retirees from the traditional Medicare supplement plans into a Medicare Advantage plan. Now, Medicare Advantage by itself is not a problem if it is offered alongside traditional Medicare supplement plans, because we believe that there's no such thing as one size fits all when it comes to health care. Under the GIC, by comparison, there are 3 Medicare supplement plans and a 4th Medicare Advantage plan. So there are a total of 4 Medicare plans available for retirees to choose from under the GIC. Now, we don't expect cities and towns to offer 4 different Medicare plans, particularly if it's a smaller community. But to require all Medicare eligible retirees must join a Medicare Advantage plan, sort of an all or nothing proposition, that's what we have a problem with, and that's what we have a concern about. So that's just one example of some of the things that are going on out there that have raised an eyebrow, so to speak, with our association. Now, we put a lot of time and effort into municipal health insurance. In particular, Nancy McGovern, our legislative liaison, a main part of her day-to-day work is focused at the local level, working with our local retirees who are your representatives on the public employee committees, working with the retirees who serve on the local insurance advisory committees. And Nancy's workload in this area seems to continue to increase week after week. And there's a couple of things that I want to ask of you. One is, if you learn of something at the local level, whether you are a retiree from that particular town or if it's just something happening in the town that you happen to live in, let us know. And what I'm referring to is any efforts to make changes to local health insurance, or if there's something going on with the pension system, for instance, COLA votes. Give us a shout. If you see something, say something, let us know. If we can get involved early on in the process, most often we can prevent the bad things from happening. But we've got to learn about that and be able to get in front on it. So that's number one. Number two is we're always seeking local retirees who are willing and able to get involved in those local committees. Now, legally, under the state law, our association appoints the local retiree representative to what's known as the Public Employee Committee, the PEC. Now, not all municipalities have a PEC. They're really only implemented, engaged, and negotiated with when there is a reason to do so. So, for instance, if the local community were to make certain changes to the local health insurance plan, those changes under the state law may trigger the need for a PEC to be implemented and engaged with, and it's our association that appoints that retiree representative alongside of all of the union representatives to represent the local retirees and active employees. And we believe that the PEC process works very well. Unfortunately, there are a growing number of communities, again, mostly smaller communities, who for one reason or another are not utilizing the PEC process. They are trying to work some of these changes to local plans through the Insurance Advisory Committees, the IAC. Now, the IAC is just that. It's an advisory body. And the retiree representative serving on the IAC is appointed by the local government. So in the case of a town, that retiree is often appointed by the town manager. Now, we have some fantastic members who are serving on IACs who are very dedicated, very knowledgeable, and fight like heck for their local retirees. But in other instances, the IAC representative, who's appointed by the town manager, has the best interests of the town government and the town management in mind, and is not necessarily looking out for the best interests of their fellow retirees. And that's where we have a problem. We need to make sure that whomever is representing retirees at the local level is doing so on behalf of the retirees, not anyone else. The focus must be on the local retirees. That's it. And we need to make sure that the local rules, or the state laws and the rules and regulations, everything is being followed, that process is playing out properly to ensure that retirees have a seat at the table, have a voice in the process, and that your rights are being respected, and that we're making sure that everything that's happening is doing so with our local members being involved in that process and having a vote in that process. Now, unfortunately, some of the changes that a city or town can make to local health insurance, whether they utilize the PEC process or the IAC process, at the end of the day, there are certain changes we cannot block from happening. For instance, if a community were to choose to join the GIC or implement a GIC lookalike plan at the local level that has the same copayments and deductibles as the GIC, state law allows those changes to be made whether or not we like it or the unions like it or not. That's the way the law works. But at the end of the day, it's important that you have a voice in the process, you have a seat at the table in the process, and that there is a negotiation and a conversation around these things. So if you are a local retiree, whether you're a municipal retiree or a retired teacher who's enrolled in the local health insurance plan, and if you have an interest in serving on the local PEC or even the IAC process, give Nancy a shout. In today's email blast to our members, Nancy's email address is contained within that. And as I said, not every community has a PEC. So it may come down to your city or town just does not have a need for that because they're not making any changes to your health insurance benefits, which is a good thing. But it could also be a good thing if changes are being made through the proper PEC process and everybody wins in the end. That's what we're really trying to get at. Now, if you are serving on a PEC, I just want to give you some advance notice. We are working very closely with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Massachusetts, as well as our public union allies, to plan and hold a second annual municipal insurance summit. Once again, it will take place in the fall. Last year's summit was hosted by Blue Cross at their Quincy facility, and that was in October. I believe we'll most likely hold this year's summit in October as well. The location has not yet been determined, so stay tuned. As soon as more information is available, we'll get that to you so you can get it on your calendar. Last year's event was very well attended. I believe that a lot of great information was shared, and our local PEC members, whether it be a local retiree or the active employees, left that meeting with a lot of knowledge that they're able to put to work at the local level on behalf of their local retirees. So with that, I'm going to sign off for today. We will be reporting next week on the annual conference of the Mass Association of Contributory Retirement Systems, better known as MACRS, who's holding its annual conference in Hyannis starting on Monday. So we're going to kind of do a back-to-back thing next week. We'll be at the MACRS conference, and then on Wednesday will be our own conference at the same facility. So it's a kind of a bit of a 2-for-1 in the way we planned it. But again, if you're on the Cape on Wednesday, come on by and say hello. It'd be great to see you in person. But take care, everybody. Bye-bye.